A man who's equally nervous. Put your hands together for David Bottomley, the CEO of Rochdale Football Club. Thank you very much. Let's go to our side. So, David, I was a bit worried at 5 to 8, I'll be honest, when I didn't see you here. I was thinking that you probably somewhere in Fallowfield, complaining about the referee's decision. Everyone wants to talk about the big game. I want to talk about the big game. How excited are you about Wycombe Wanderers on Saturday?
I'm very excited because that's bread and butter, and that's really important.
Talk about last night, because a number of people in the room who were there last night, and that it came through on the radio, and you saw the social media activity as well. What was last night like for you as the CEO, for you as the fan, for you as one of the people in Rochdale who's been so behind the Rochdale Ambassadors and what we're trying to do?
The most important thing about last night was we managed to get Alan Brett, who is the leader of the council, wearing a Rochdale scarf in the director's box at Old Trafford, and Steve Rumbelow, who is also chief executive of the council, is also both of them Burnley season ticket holders, and they were there last night cheering on Rochdale. And for me, that was as important as anything else last night, to see Alan Brett wearing a Rochdale scarf. Alan, thank you very much for that. Thank you.
I was listening to it on Radio 5 Live, and they were at another game, and when they thought there'd be a shock, they went over to Man United. And when we first did the interview for the article which went in Business Live, you were talking about the history of Rochdale, and you said Rochdale's got its reputation. It had been in League Two for 36 years. People spoke about it as the Rochdale League. And you said statistically, more managers got the sack after losing to Rochdale than any other team in the history of football. And I was talking to a couple of fans. who were there last night, and I said, what were the Rochdale fans singing? He said, I can't really tell you. He said, but the most obvious one was you're getting sacked in the morning, to Ollie as well. I mean, just when they scored the goal, when Luke Matheson scored the goal, I mean, he's a player that you've known for a long time, that the club have been involved in for a long time. There was just a real feel-good factor. And I looked at social media, and it was all, if we can't beat this lot, there's something badly wrong. What was last night like for you? And also financially as well, because it's good for the club.
Okay, financially it's very important. When the draw was made, and this could only happen in Rochdale, if we'd have drawn them in the third round of the FA Cup, we'd be getting a payment of about 1.4 million from United. Last night's going to net the club somewhere about 450,000, 500,000, which is fantastic. But when the draw was made, somebody on Talk Sport, who is a Rochdale fan, who does the betting in the morning, said, quote, this will keep the club going for 2 to 3 years. Well, it actually doesn't. It'll keep the club going for 2 to 3 months, because the harsh realities of the game we're involved in is that Football Club needs £350,000 a month just to break even. That's what goes out of this club all the time, which is why you're sat on chairs with holes in, and as you can tell, with no air conditioning. So if somebody wants to come forward and sponsor air conditioning, that would be great. What was going through my mind when Luke scored very sadly was, I thought, oh my God, because he's 16 and he can't sign a pro contract until next week when he's 17. And I know, I'll be genuine, it was going through my mind as he scored, actually, after I celebrated, obviously, like a true fan. But he's a very unique character, has been with our academy since he was 9. He's been brilliant, but every club in the Premiership is now sniffing around Luke Matheson. And from our point of view, it's important that he signs a pro contract, because if he does that, he'll become our asset. If he leaves before then, the compensation we'll get will be okay, but it wouldn't really justify 7, 8 years of our input into him. His family loved the club, he loves the club. But actually, as we were walking back to the coach last night, I met his agent in the car park. Who I actually call Rottweiler. He's a very, very good guy, but there are a lot of people trying to prize Luke away from the club. As you said earlier, Chris, our academy, the business plan of Rochdale for many years has been based on producing kids who come through, they get into the first team, you pay them a very low wage level. And you've got to remember the league we're playing in, this is an EFL published stat. 2 years ago, the average salary in our division was £110,000 a year. And so that are stats that are based on paying people like Luke £200 a week, and a lot of very expensive players. And the one thing that Rochdale won't do and never has done is get into the same financial trouble as a club like Bury, who Keith Hill, our previous manager, used to come to board meetings and say, Bury are offering £5,000 a week to this player and we're offering 1,200. And we said, yeah, but we'll be in business long after Bury won't be, and that's proven to be the case. So we're very prudent at this club. But the academy model, we're very proud of that academy. We wish we were a Category 1 club with a training facility and 13 pitches and an indoor facility, because we want to produce future stars from the town of Rochdale that go on to have success within the football industry. We know we're not going to play in the Premiership. The ambition of the board is to take this club into the Championship. But we just want to produce good footballers, both male and female. And it's, one of the great things about last night also, we have a ladies section at Rochdale Football Club, which is about 90 females from under 8s to open age. There were about 60 of them there last night at Old Trafford, and to me...
It's about making memories. I'm going to ask you a few things about non-football as well, because we can get back to talking about, the business side of things. Your background, you're obviously from Rochdale. You worked in the toy industry for 30 plus years. Does that give you your business background? Is that something, because somebody said to me, if you want to make a small fortune in football, start with a big fortune, and does that business background, does that help? Because, I've had meetings with you, your phone's going off all the time, with agents and all sorts. You're dealing with things that you wouldn't expect to deal with. If there was a fly on the wall at this club, you'd be like Kim Kardashian, you really would. Everyone would know who you are. Does that business savvy, is that important in a football club like Rochdale?
Yeah, hugely, in terms of particularly negotiating with players, managers, agents, employees, councils. Mainly the negotiation skills that I've picked up in business have been very useful, both as a director of this club and as chief executive, because the issue that football has is just one issue, and at the Premier League level there is silly money coming into the game so they can pay silly money out. At Championship, League 1 and 2, there isn't the money there, but it's the only industry in the world that pays its employees more than the turnover of the business, and it's crazy. So, I've held firm this year. We're very fortunate at the moment we have a manager at the football club who believes in everything the board is trying to do. So there are a lot of players who, a couple of players who ended up signing for us for the money we'd offered them 5 or 6 weeks before, because, we hold firm, and so negotiation and all the business skills that I've learned over the years has come in very useful, particularly because as a club, we're dramatically under-resourced off the field. Everything at most football clubs, and this is no different, goes into the green stuff out there. And, I have a team of people, not a team of some great people here, working 24/7, and then you see on the fans forum about, why is the ticket office closed on a Sunday? Well, it's been open for 6 days, it's hard. And we've got people who are working for not much more than the minimum wage, and they're really loyal and great staff.
Looking at the stats, we mentioned Bury earlier. They secured a £1 million loan against the Gig Lane ground, an annual interest rate of 138%. You don't have to be an economist to work out that's not going to work. Before we come back to the football club, you went down to Henley, and I think you would have gone down a tree in Henley. And you said that people always used to talk about your accent, and you used to tell them that you went to elocution lessons to talk like a Rochdalian, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, my sister's in the audience.
Where is your sister? Where is your sister?
My sister's there.
Can she give us away?
Can
she give us away?
She's over from Canada for 2 weeks.
She's so proud of you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
She's so proud of you.
We both grew up in Rochdale, and I never lost the accent despite leaving the town really when I was about 18. So I ended up living in Henley-on-Thames in Oxfordshire, which is a wonderful place, but Britain's snobbiest town. And I was a member of the same golf club for 23 years, and every Sunday I played in the competition. You'd be walking down First Fairway, chatting away to somebody you didn't know, and without exception, the first thing we'd say, "Oh, what part of Yorkshire do you come from?" Which annoyed me intensely because obviously, we're in Lancashire here. And it happened so many times. I started to wind people up and I'd say, "Oh, I'm actually not from, I'm from Henley." "Oh, I know you live in Henley, but no, I'm from Henley." "So how have you got an accent like that?" I said, "Well, I was so bored with talking in a posh southern accent," I said, that I went for elocution lessons to talk like my parents did, who grew up in Lancashire, and people would believe me. They go, "Really?" And that's how gullible southerners are. But anyhow,
that's actually probably Probably why we got on so well for, actually. I was looking in the audience and I was thinking to myself, who has got 14 million quid in the audience burning a hole in their pocket? And then I saw Anthony Dillon of Wilmot Dixon. You know, he's got that behind his couch.
Yeah.
You're looking for somebody with 14 million quid because we're talking about Rochdale Hornets not being able to train in the borough. You've not got your own training facilities, which clearly, you know, is what you want in the borough. And you've got this plan and you're talking to a few investors. Let's talk about what the vision is as you see it for the football club.
The vision is for us to four things really. One, to have our own first team training ground. We're very fortunate this year particularly. We've got a great relationship with Rochdale Cricket Club. We maintain the pitches there, and for the last few years our players have been coming here and changing in the same changing room that they're using on a Saturday, so there's no novelty. They've been walking across the car park in the studs, going down a hill, through a hole in a fence and climbing over barbed wire to get onto two pitches at the cricket club. Now, you know, you could say that's good, but you've got to remember we're operating in the fourth richest league in Europe, so it's not great for professionals. So the cricket club has been refurbished this year, so we're using it. Players go down there. We've employed a full-time chef, which is, from the players' point of view, probably the best thing we've done for many, many years. And the reason that we did so well at United last night is the team spirit at the moment is absolutely fantastic because of that simple little thing of them driving to the cricket club, training there, and they feel they're staying later. The manager came to a board meeting and said it's great because the players are staying on later, and one of our directors says, yeah, but they're playing snooker and table tennis. They're not, which is quite true, actually. They've got a snooker league. But no, they are developing themselves. But the ambition is to have a first team training ground. We are, even Accrington, and I don't mean that disparagingly to Accrington, but they're a small football club, and even they are investing millions in a first team training facility.
I know the owner and the chief executive of Accrington. And Accrington was so close to going out of business, and he wasn't even a football man, he'll admit that, but he didn't want Accrington to lose its focus, its identity, so he invested in a community club, and he spent, as you say, millions of pounds of his own money, which he'll never get back, just talking common sense, which is what you're trying to bring with Rochdale.
And we want a community facility. We took a group of people in March of this year to see a facility called Poolfoot Farm, which is owned by Fleetwood Football Club. Andy Pilley, who owns Fleetwood, unashamedly tells you that he's put 9 million of his own money into that, but it's making £500,000 a year now for the football club. And it's enriching the Wire community, a broader reach than Fleetwood, and that's what we want to have in the town. We want the football club to be the community facility for everybody in Rochdale, irrespective of creed, colour, denomination, whatever. We want this to be a community club for boys, girls, men, women to do, just to engage and to exercise or to do whatever people want to do to make society better, and that's the real ambition of the football club. Thirdly, we need to stay, and we want to stay playing at this level of football, and it's expensive, and we can't do it on, you know, our playing budget, no secret, is around about the 2 million mark.
Gate receipts are 1.1.
Gate receipts are 1.1 million, so you don't have to be a genius to understand where do we get our money from, and we are the last model football club in terms of we have no really high net worth individuals on the board of directors. All the directors of this club have put money in, but it's no longer sustainable. So we need outside investment to take the club forward, because genuinely, you know, I think we did the town proud last night, but we want to do that on a regular basis, and we want to play in the championship. You know, the club, I was very interested in hearing about Hornets' 150th anniversary in 2021. We will celebrate in 2021 100 years membership of unbroken membership of the Football League. So we'd like to do that playing in the Championship.
I want to ask about non-football as well. You were heavily involved in the creation of Rochdale Ambassadors. Obviously, it must give you a lot of satisfaction going to Old Trafford yesterday and putting on a really good performance. In a different way, it must give you a lot of satisfaction looking in the audience here, coming to Rochdale Football Club, different businesses, different people, because you were heavily involved in the creation of Rochdale Ambassadors. And how important do you think that is to the club and to Rochdale?
Oh, it's massively important to the club because, you know, the club puts the town on the map, but the town puts the club on the map, and it works both ways. And we need a thriving business community in Rochdale as much as we need a thriving football club. And I think, you know, both things work hand in hand. To me, it's brilliant that you've come here this morning. I feel slightly embarrassed because our facilities are not what they should be. We're very fortunate we have a great contract with the NHS, and they were here for a meeting yesterday. But we need to invest, and that's why we need outside investment, because this room should not look like it does look. It should look fantastically spick and span and clean with a new floor and new carpets and painted walls. But we need money to do that, and we cannot sustain ourselves any longer in the way that we've traditionally sustained ourselves.
I mean, the problem is there's too many football clubs and too many businesses that I see in my walk of life. You've got the veneer of expensiveness, and they've gone into administration and receivership. Now Rochdale's just got those old-fashioned values that mean it won't do that. You've spoken before. You won't climb into bed with the devil in terms of foreign ownership, and jeopardise the future of this football club as well. I meet lots of local authorities. Rochdale, Borough Council is very proactive in the way they're doing things. Just see the regeneration and the work that's taking place in the town centre. How important is that relationship in terms of with the council and the development agency?
Oh, hugely important. I joined the board of directors 4 years ago here, and it was fair to say that we probably didn't really engage either the council executive or the elected council in the ideas and ambitions we had as a football club. And I think it's fair to say that we're now trying very hard to do that, because, again, I keep coming back to it. We want to be a community club. Rochdale loves the town and hope the town loves Rochdale. You asked me a question earlier we didn't properly answer, about last night. It was brilliant seeing 6,000 people last night, 6,000 people from Rochdale, 6,000. And on Saturday, we'll probably have 2,300. So, the great ambition would be that even if only 10 or 20% of the people who went last night, who haven't been for a long time, thought, hey, I like this, it's good, just come back, because it makes such a, every £20 through the turnstile makes such a big difference here.
I've got a couple more questions to ask. I'm mindful of time. Has anybody got any questions they want to ask from the audience? Not very often you get to meet a real celebrity in David Bottomley. And it's nice for David to find the time to talk. I mean, there's people come all the way from Canada to hear you. Yeah, from Canada. Absolutely hot sister, yeah. But she still comes. Hotwood's come all the way from California today just to listen to you, because he saw that article about you in the magazine as well. I will always get back at you. You do realise that. When we spoke before, you said that when you were a kid growing up in Rochdale, you couldn't wait to get away.
Correct.
Absolutely, yeah. And you thought the grass was greener on the other side. And then the opportunity came back. The call came to get involved with Rochdale Football Club as well. I asked the same question of Siobhan in terms of how did she feel about Rochdale right now? How do you feel about Rochdale right now, the place, the football club, the town centre and everything that goes with it?
I think it's fantastic. I think the regeneration's brilliant. I did grow up with a burning desire to get away, and because I thought, that was the 1970s, it wasn't a great era anywhere, but I think Rochdale was a fairly depressed town in those days. I see Rochdale now as, I've always spread the message wherever I've been throughout the world about, the town hall, but it's got so much more than the town hall now, hasn't it? It's got the highest percentage of manufacturing industry in the northwest of England, and it's got so many good things going for it. I think it's a brilliant town, and I love it. I mean, but the only thing is that the people don't change sometimes. When I moved to Henley-on-Thames, it's 7 miles from Reading, and when I moved there, they were building a huge new shopping complex called the Oracle, and the Oracle is built straddling a river and a canal. And everybody in the local area you had the attitude of, wow, this is fantastic. They're opening up. It's going to be wine bars and restaurants and cinemas and all these things. And when I came back to Rochdale, it coincided with the river being uncovered. And people at the football club, and I used to say, oh, it's going to be great. They're opening up the river. Yeah, before the shopping trolleys. And that is the one thing, isn't it? In the south, the thing I find that the people in the north are amazing. And I think the people of this town are amazing. But the thing that used to irritate me all my life living away from Rochdale is that I think we put ourselves down too much in this town, whereas people in the south have a much more, can-do attitude. And I think now with what's happening, certainly with the council and the executive, there's a real feel-good factor that says, this town is a great town and we can make things happen. And to me, that's why I love Rochdale.
David, thanks very much for that. I'm just going to end, obviously, by thanking all our speakers, thanking David and our first two speakers as well, and thanks for the audience for coming here today, and for Rochdale Football Club hosting us. You know, I was proud to be associated with Rochdale. You know, 10 years so it is. You know, I've working with Rochdale Development Agency and working with Rochdale Ambassadors as well. I've met about 30, 40 businesses so far. It's a fraction of the businesses that I need to meet. We're organising a monthly roundtable of Rochdale businesses. And we go to different locations. We've done 2 so far. We've got another one lined up. If you've got a business, if you're in Rochdale Borough and you want me to come and see you and you've got a story to tell, come and see me. Afterwards, I'll be hanging about. You know, because I think you're exactly right. You know, Rochdale was on the stage, the sort of national stage yesterday. You know, and then Wycombe Wanderers, which is where we started. You know, there won't be a lot of people there on Saturday. And we were talking about the Hornets as well. And yet, you know, if we go around and wear this with pride, which we generally do, and people are really surprised when you start talking about Rochdale, we start talking about the projects that are taking place, because I know what you mean. As a southerner, you know, sometimes we do, you know, probably puff our, you know, chest out a little bit more, but I think it's an insecurity, where I think up the north, you know, people are much more sure about themselves as well, and I just think in terms of, I think Rochdale's on the beginning of something really great. So thank you very much to you, David. Thank you very much for everyone for coming here today, and safe journey. And the sun's shining as well. Exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.